The reason why you will see me pause sometimes is because I'm teaching a totally different way now. So I'm thinking a little bit about folks at home and folks that are here. I don't have all the, I'm not using the whiteboard or anything. So sometimes I have to rephrase it from what I have here. Okay, so for the following questions, right, we will rewrite into y equals mx plus b. That's the slope-intercept form. And we're going to graph the line of the equation, the resulting equation. So for A, we have 3x plus 2y is equal to 6. Okay, so in IPR, you learned about slope-intercept form, standard form, general form, all those forms. The one, basically the one you want to know and make sure that you know how to rewrite it into this form, right? That's the slope-intercept form is the most important one. Because our graphing calculator cannot graph this, but it can graph that. Okay, so that's why it's important to know how to get it from anything I give you to this. Okay, so we want to isolate. So to rewrite, right? Isolate y. Okay. So basically, you can think of terms, right? Like this 3x comes over subtracting, right? You can think of it that way or just subtract 3x from both sides. It's up to you. So you end up with 2y is equal to negative 3x, and 6 is already on that side, so it's plus 6. Right? So that'd be your first step. And then you deal with the coefficient of 2 in front of the y, right? So you go divide by 2, and you divide this side by 2 as well. Okay, and so you get y is equal to negative 3 over 2x plus 6 divided by 2. Don't forget that. Okay, I have a lot of students, they take care of this, and then they'll just go plus 6, right? No, the 2 is affecting both terms, okay? So plus 3. And sometimes in this course, it'll be ugly decimals or whatever. That's fine. Our calculator knows how to graph that. We don't need to worry about it too much, okay? So that's what, so this is rewritten now, okay? So this would be basically I, okay? So AI, this is what we did. And now we're going to graph it. Okay. So I know that my slope is negative 3 over 2. So that means that the line is going right. I right away should be thinking this line is going to be going down. Right? From left to right, the line is going to go down. And my y-intercept is going to be 0, 3. Because I know that B represents the y-intercept, right? It's the point at which it crosses the y-intercept. So y-intercept is 0, 3. Sorry, I made this look like equal signs. I think I'm just going to go 2 dots like this, okay? The y-intercept is 0, 3. So please change that. Let me see here. Okay, good. All right, so slope, intercept, so now we can graph it. We know it's going to go down like this. So having your small ruler, preferably, right? We're going to make a little coordinate grid here. So you have to know, right now this isn't scaled. So the key with graphing, and not just in grade 11 applied, any applied course, is a consistent scale. So let's say you choose every interval to be going up by 2. then that's okay as long as you're consistent. But you can't say from here to here it's 2, and then I'm going to go up by 3 or 5 because it will fit, right? You can't do that. It has to be consistent, right? So for me, these are just going to be 1. So where do you start? Do you remember? What do you start with when you want to graph? You want to start with the intercept, the point that is given to you. Okay, so 0, 3 would be located right here for me. Okay, and if you want to make a scale like little marks like that to indicate, right, this is going up by 1 here. And you could, if you wanted to, this is what I do, I'm just consistent like this, try to make them spaced out as equally as possible, right? And then you can, right, just call each of them 1, and that's fine. So the best way to do it is just to be consistent. And so we start with 0, 3, and we have a slope of -3 over 2. I tell my students this because I remember you're coming from IPR, it's a negative slope, right? Where does it go? The negative always stays, it floats up. Okay, just think of it as this negative is attached to the top number, to the numerator. So this means that you're dropping 3, but you're always running to the right. That's easy, the easiest way to remember that. So you're going to drop 3, so 1, 2, 3, and you're going to run 2 units to the right. And there you have your other point now. So it's 2, 0, which is actually, this is your X-intercept, right? So 0, 3, and if you want different colors, right, you just make a note here that this is, right, you're going down 3, and you're going over, pen has been sitting for too long, right, over 2, okay? So you keep going, right? So you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that'd be your next point. And this point would be 4, -3. And so if you want to use colors, you can just make a note. I wouldn't want this on a graph, to be honest, but for your notes, right, you can do that. And now we graph our line, okay? So these 3 points should all line up perfectly. So there we go, right? You've got 3 points. I'm just showing you that you can find as many points as you want, okay? 2 for me personally is good enough. Like technically if you have 2 points, you can graph the line. So then we're gonna just, on here, label this with the equation that goes with it, right? So notice I have X and Y axis labeled. You should have at least 2 points labeled on the line. Just label it. And then finally the equation, which you choose. If you want the rewritten one, write that in here. That's fine. Okay. So there goes that. Okay. We're going to do another one here. So I think I'm going to split this. I'm going to do it right next to it. Okay, so B 4x minus 2y is equal to 18. So we're going to do the rewriting part. If you want to go ahead of me, go for it. Okay. So you'd have negative 2y is equal to negative 4x, because this negative term is coming over the equal sign subtracting. The 18 is already there. Be very careful with signs, folks. It can really affect you if you get that wrong. It makes everything be off. Okay, it's just frustrating. Then we're going to divide everything by negative 2. And so y is equal to 2x, right? So negative and negative is positive, so it's 2x. Positive divided by negative is negative, right? Negative 9. So there you have the rewritten form, right? For double I, we have that our slope is 2. I like to have it like this, folks, 2 over 1, right? Our slope is rise and run, so just to keep that in mind. And b is negative 9. You can actually say b is equal to negative 9, which is a point which we refer to as 0, negative 9, if you want to refer to the point, which I would prefer you do, because it is a point. And there it is, right? All right, so let's graph this. So we have to be smart about it, because I already see that we have a 0, negative 9, which is it's way down, right, on your y-axis. So here you might have to use the scale to your advantage. Okay, so I'm going to graph my y, and I'm going to make it a little higher up, because I know, because my plan is to go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You know, I'm going to have a scale of 2 along the y-axis. This is my x and this is my y. I'm going to use a scale of 1 along the x-axis, but I'm going to use a scale of 2 along the y-axis. So there you have to let me know. You label, you determine that. So let's say you wanted to label every mark, right? So it'd be negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, negative 10, right? You need to show me that, right? Just at least a few to indicate that that's the scale that you're using, or else we would think that you're using a scale of 1. Okay? And once you're there, let's find 0, negative 9, right? So 0, negative 9 would be right between 8 and 10. So this is 0, negative 9 right there. Okay, I'll label that. I'm going to use my slope. So I'm going to go up 2, right? And over 1. So this is technically 1, 2, you get to here, over 1. So I'm going to kind of line it up with this marker here, right? And then you can keep going, 1, 2, over 1. Okay. So you have to be being organized and making sure it's all adding up, and you have a ruler to make straight lines will make this a lot easier, because you will also have to be able to do this by hand. Okay, so there's your line, and I'm going to label it 4x minus 2y is equal to 18. Let's label one more point. Technically, this one is 1, negative 7. And if you think of your slope, right, you're rising 2 and you're running 1. So this went up by 2 from negative 9 to negative 7, and you ran 1 to the right. There's your graph. Okay. So essentially, if you know your start, if you know any point on the graph, any point, you can use your slope to find more points, right? By the way, could you go down 2, back 1? Yes, because it would still be a positive 2 slope if you did that, right? Basically, you're going down the stairs instead of up the stairs, but it's still the same staircase, right? So we're good. Maybe I'll let you try one. Is this going to be good? Yeah, this is going to be. So C, we're going to go 6x minus 5y minus 25. What's going on there? Right? Everything is over on the left side. No problem. You still just move everything except for y. Everything should be going over to the other side. Okay. So give this a try. If you make a mistake here, not a big deal. Okay. Right now it's time where you try to get your feet wet and you just try to get it there. So rewrite it and then try to graph it on your own go. At home, same thing. Okay. Does anybody know Kyle? Kyle Anday? You don't? Is he coming or you don't know? You just know him? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will actually look if he has joined the class. If not, then yeah, maybe if you can tell him to check his email. I think he might have joined later because he's not even on the. so much emails from parents and students. All right. You're all still here? All right. I don't know how far you got, but let's give this a try. Okay, so 6x minus 5y minus 25. So this would be general form. I won't really ask you that, so you don't have to memorize that. But here we go. Negative 5y is equal to negative 6x, because the 6x comes over negative, the 25 comes over positive. Okay, so that's the first step that I would take. Now I would divide everything by negative 5. And so y is equal to 6 over 5x. And this would be negative 5, right? Minus 5. Okay, so this would be basically I, right? And so double I, let's see where we're at. I know that my slope is 6 over 5 positive, and that the y-intercept is 0, negative 5. So I'm starting at negative 5. I'm going to go up 6 over 5. Okay? So imagine that. You're starting down here, and then you're going to go up 6 over 5. So I'm going to kind of focus on that, on those two quadrants a bit more. Yeah. I got the 6 over 5 right. Oh, was that, did you get a negative or? Yeah, I got negative 6. Right, so then your line would go the opposite way, right? Did you get the 5 right? The negative 5? The negative 5? Okay. So just watch out from now on. You would still get significant amount of marks, but it just makes it so much easier if for you later, right? Like to see your mistake. So it's a common mistake. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm sure you're not the only one that it happened to, right? As we speak, there's a bunch of students probably erasing. So are you agreeing with that you made a mistake, or are you wondering if it should be negative? Just confirm. What's that? Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of do this like that. Okay. So I can keep it to a scale of 1 because I'm using so much space, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right about here, right? That's 0, negative 5. And I'm going to use a scale of 1 here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can keep going if I wanted to. But essentially, my slope will be, if this is my point, right, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over here. Okay. So 2 points is all that we really need. Right. So you do that, and you label it. I'm going to mix it up here and use the rewritten form. And this would be 5, 1, right? And you have x-axis and y-axis, don't forget that. And that's what it should look like. Now, if you use a different scale, or if you made it smaller, all those things don't really matter as long as you're consistent, okay? If you made it smaller, that's fine. We're going to go by that, okay? Okay, so that's that. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is that this skill is going to be important to graph something by hand as well as on the calculator. Okay, the calculator can only graph this. It cannot graph any other form. Okay, so I will show you how to do that on Friday, perhaps Friday, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to continue. We're going to do something similar, but using a different method, right? Hold on. I'm going to rephrase this. Graphing an equation using the intercepts. Find the x-intercept let y equal to 0. So essentially the point you're looking for is going to be x 0. Okay? To find the y-intercept, let x equal to 0. So you're essentially looking for 0, y, right? And so x and y are going to be actual numbers, but the 0 is what you should focus on, right? When you're finding the x-intercept, y is equal to 0. When you're finding the y-intercept, x is equal to 0, okay? And I think I'm going to start a new page because it's not going to really be enough for what I want to do. I want it all on the same page. So if you're almost running out of runway, maybe start a new page if you'd like to have it all in one. I'm just going to leave it there. All right. Okay. So for the following equations, I'm going to give you a bunch. We're going to, for every single one, we're going to find the intercepts. We're going to rewrite into slope intercept. And we're going to graph the equation afterwards. This is what's going to be very common, what we're about to do here. Except for if you could add one more step, we would be using our calculator to double check or find some more information a little faster. So to find the intercepts, I do it in a specific way. So I like to have it in a chart. So you will find the x-intercept right next to the y-intercept. That's how I like to do it. So I'm just going to say on top here next to it, I'm going to say y is equal to 0 for the x-intercept and x is equal to 0 for the y-intercept. We good? All right. If you're watching this video later on, right, you're going to have to fast forward certain things I'm just not going to edit them or anything like that. Sorry about that, but I just don't have enough time for that. So here we go. Let's find the x-intercept on the left side. So basically you take this equation but you substitute 0 in for y. So it's 3x minus 2 times 0. I'm not going to do this down the road anymore. It's just for the first one. That's equal to 3. So 3x is equal to 3, right? Because this turns to 0. You divide both sides by 3. X is equal to 1. What have you just found? Well, when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 1. So basically you found 1, 0, right? When y is equal to 0, x is equal to 1. That's the point you found here. On the other hand, to find a y-intercept, you let x equal to 0. So you plug in 0 wherever there's an x. 2y is equal to 3. This turns to 0, so you end up with, don't drop the negative, right? Negative 2y is equal to 3. You divide both sides by negative 2. This turns to positive, so that would be negative 3 over 2, like that. It's okay to turn it into a decimal, okay? In applied, it's very okay to do that. So we could say this is negative 1.5. But if you'd like to keep it as a fraction, that's just fine, right? So here you found the point 0, negative 1.5. So you found your x and your y-intercept. So I box this whole thing in. It's going to be smaller down the road, I promise you. It's just now for, so you can clearly see what it is that we're doing. We're doing it side by side. We have them both there, okay? So this is essentially I that we've done here. Double I, we're going to rewrite it. So I'm going to already just take that and just move the 3x over like that. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. Y is equal to 3 over 2 positive minus 1/2. Or if you want to put down 3 over 2, that's fine. But because we're going to use our graphing calculator, it's often easier to type in a decimal than it is a fraction. Okay. So this is double I here. We know that this is going to be pointing up. And obviously it's a diagonal line because you have a y and an x. So there it is. So triple I, we're supposed to graph this. Is it going to be good here? Sure, we're going to try it to not use up too much paper, right? So I'm going to use these 2 points to graph. I'm not going to use the other method I just showed you. I'm just going to use these 2 points because remember, if you have 2 points, you have a line. So you just kind of have to look at them, right? 1, 0, 0, negative 1.5. You're not looking at a really big grid, right? To fit those in. So I'm just going to x, y. Okay. So 1, 0 would be right about there. And 0, negative 1.5 would be right about there. So I'm going to go make this 1, 2 is very consistent. So 1, 0 is right there. I'm going to label it 1, 0. And this is going to be 0, negative 1.5. This point right here. So you just connect those 2 points. And you have yourself a graph. There's the x and the y. I labeled that. I labeled this. And don't forget, if you're not sure, label, right? Like I would always say, just label it away, right? You can't go wrong with labeling. So I found this point here, that point there. I was consistent with my scale. And there we go. Later on, when we graph more sophisticated graphs, I'm going to show you the labeling. It's going to require a little bit more. But right now, we're just sketching. And that's all I need you to do. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a bunch to try on your own. And I would like you're probably not going to have enough time to do it all today. So I'm just going to write them down and you just copy them for now. Okay, I'm going to get it off of my Negative 2x. No, wait. I think I got it wrong here. It's on the next page. Yeah. Plus y is equal to 1. 3y minus 2x is equal to 9. Y plus 4 is equal to negative 3x minus 3. So I know some of them are like, oh no, this is IPR all over again, right? I just need you to practice, okay? I should probably rewrite this as a fraction, like a proper fraction, so it's like that. Maybe it's been a while. I don't know what happened last year, right? I'm going to give you some hints here, okay? So when you come down to this, like something like that, what I would recommend you do to both sides is to multiply it by -2. So multiply this whole side by -2 to get rid of that 1/2, and you do the same thing to this whole side here, okay? And then you will get rid of the -2. You don't have to worry, the 1/2, you don't have to worry about that. On this one, you should get rid of the decimals. How would you do that? They all have 1 decimal, so what can you multiply this whole equation by to get rid of the decimals? Right? You would go times 10, right, to get rid of that. So you kind of have to work it out. Maybe look at some of the, if you still have your IPR notes, look it up. There's some distributive properties here you have to watch out for, but they can all be done, okay? And I think that's going to be it for today. And so if you're at home or here, you just work on whatever I gave you, try to get as far as you can, and then we'll come back tomorrow and I'll walk you through them. I won't necessarily do them in great detail, okay?